Speaking of CEOs.
Ooh, let's speak of that.
Actually, I want to talk about the CEO of GM. We've talked about her a lot. But before we do, let's talk about the company as a whole. I'm talking about General Motors.
Yeah, GM, man. Wow. Whew. Not in good shape.
What the heck's going on, man?
I don't know, man. This whole Nikola merger that started, back in the fall, early fall with this, and then all of a sudden, a few days afterwards, it turns out that the CEO has decided that he wants to bail out.
He got attention drawn to him by some short sell research firms, and they said, hey, he doesn't have a working model. I'll do you one better. Back up even before that, when GM lost their CFO. You remember that?
I do recall that.
If you don't remember that, you can find it on our YouTube channel where we talked about it, and on the podcast at partscounterguru.com. You can sign up for the podcast there. And we said, what does she know?
Right.
I hate to say I told you so.
Exactly, man, because we were saying in that particular episode, something smells fishy here, because typically someone in the automotive industry, if you leave a company
for a credit card processing firm, didn't
typically
go to Ford or Tesla.
Right. Typically it's a lateral move you're making, going over here because they offered you more money and maybe their vision is a little bit better than what you're seeing now. But she completely got completely out of the industry. And I don't know, man. I mean, so I forgot about that little bit of controversy.
First things first, they're changing their logo. Because, when you can't compete on actual quality of product, just come up with a new logo, right?
That's it.
Now look, you guys, I'm poking fun here. There's been some exciting things that GM has done. That new C8 Corvette is amazing.
It is.
Okay. You can't buy one even though it's been in production for 2 years. So that part, not so amazing. Okay.
Right.
And again, it's like we try our best to love these guys. They do some great things. The Suburban, I'm super thrilled about what they're doing with the new Suburban and the Tahoe.
Right.
And then it's like, we talk about on this program the Nikola partnership that Jay, you just alluded to. And all this news comes out, and then GM comes out shortly after and says, no, we're sticking to our guns. It's going through.
Yeah, it's been a rocky road, and I mean it seems like every week there's new information or something, some move they're making. I mean, there was no hesitation for them to come on out with this, with the GMC Hummer EV, which was revealed back in October. We thought that that's where the Nikola partnership really was going to shine. But, back to that partnership, some of the debacle there, which is this guy, Trevor, what's his last name?
Trevor Milton.
Trevor Milton. He, claimed that he invented his technology, the fuel cell technology, in a basement. Turns out it was some third party that he bought it from. There was a controversy of how it was powered up when he was revealing the big rig, that it was actually not powered on its own. They revealed that it did not get out there on its own. He comes back and says, well,
one of his engineers
said, but he comes back and says, well, I never really said that it was, just making it look like it was. This seems like some sort of scheme here, man. Like, somebody's pulling the wool over somebody's eyes. And then he resigns. He ends up resigning, but was taken over by one of GM's top executives.
Which, honestly, is the smart move, because you put somebody with experience at the table, and you get rid of the troublesome part, right?
Right.
Okay, so, Jay, I know GM's making a push towards electrification.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just, you and I have talked to designers about logos and that sort of stuff before. What is going on in these boardrooms where somebody goes, yeah, I think we just need to change from caps to lowercase, and that's it, man. Nothing says electrification in the new GM like lowercase letters. I mean, you've seen the logo, I'm sure.
Right.
It's just lowercase g, lowercase m.
Right. Our logo looks,
Way to go for a huge change, General Motors.
Right. Which, by the way, the designer of our logo, hey, man, great job, buddy. Daniel, thank you so much.
We would happily put you in touch with Daniel.
We can put you in touch with Daniel.
He will do a better job than whatever this is.
Right. And actually, he's in your neck of the woods, too. So if you want me to have my people put you in touch with his people, hey, your people and his people, whatever, we can make that happen. So
what is going on in this organization? So, controversy seems to abound. Now, not trying to beat up on Mary, CEO.
Yeah.
You found some information here about recent stock sales, right?
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, so I didn't know this, and we're doing research on this whole subject matter. And again, the layers that you peel back, it's like going down into a rabbit hole, man. CEO Mary Barra, she basically has reportedly sold nearly 175,000 shares of GM stock. This went down the end of November. It was November 18th to be exact. The total valuation was nearly $7.7 million. According to a recent report from American Banking and Market News, Barra made the transaction with an average stock price of $44.01. She still owns 1,333,224 shares with an estimated value of $675,188. Wow. Now, here's an interesting thing. The recent GM stock performance marks a third consecutive week of growth since then. Also, by the way, what's going on here?
Yeah, this is not uncommon. Bezos has done it.
Yeah,
Elon's done it. Jobs did it. Tim Cook's done it. And when I say this, are they
playing the system?
I mean, selling their shares. It happens. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit unusual with the case that we just laid out. There's a very questionable Nikola partnership going on. A lot of people, us included, I guess I'll speak for Jay here too. Don't expect Nikola to be around through the end of this year. I just don't, So you're in questionable times. You have a situation where there's a supply chain issue. You can't make Corvettes fast enough. You're having other issues, right? Mm-hmm. Tough sales. GM's already announced that they did not have a great summer because of the pandemic. So numbers are not great, okay? Yes, they announced some electrification platforms like the Lyriq. We'll get to that in a minute. But this smells to me, hope I'm wrong, like I'm taking my lifeboats and I'm selling them before the Titanic hits that iceberg. And I'm not saying GM's going to go completely under, but tough times may lie ahead. And it may be time to protect your nest egg.
Well, they've certainly got their irons in the fire right now with this whole EV push. Okay, and speaking of the logo, that's kind of what fueled this conversation a little bit. They are dedicated to the EV world. Okay,
no question. They've made it very clear. She has made it very clear. They believe that's their future.
Yeah, she says that they are currently accelerating its various EV programs, including the all-new Lyriq crossover. And it was obviously recently confirmed. Providing the juice in GM's range of new EV products will be the automaker's Ultium battery and drive technology. Now, their battery and drive technology could be their savior.
Might be the best out there.
Yeah, it could be. And then all of these other EV, like Toyota, maybe that are they coming to GM and saying, "Hey, is that what GM is going to be? Are they going to be an electrification company and not an auto manufacturer? What's happening here? I mean, who knows? Because they've sold off like their Lordstown plant to Lordstown. That's an all-electric company now. They're making moves that puts them at the heart of this movement. Period.
Okay, you're on the board, General Motors. What? I mean, are you comfortable as a majority shareholder in that brand?
Only if I know what they know.
Like, let's just say you know what you know right now,
If I'm on the outside looking in, right, on the outside looking in, I'm very nervous.
Okay, yeah.
Period. If I'm on the outside looking in, I'm very nervous. Because there really seems to be no clear direction until they said, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, true to that, they have invested, billions of dollars into the Spring Hill, Tennessee plant where the Lyriq is going to be produced.
Yep.
I think that's probably going to be the same location where the Hummer EV is going to be as well. And there are scattered about the country, most of them up in Michigan, scattered about the country. Their battery technology plants, development, research and development, production. So for me, it's clear that they may be abandoning, the internal combustion engine. I don't know.
All right,
I could be wrong.
This is what I think.
Oh, I'm listening, man. I'm all ears.
This is my
dude.
prediction. I'm trying to choose my words carefully here so that I don't get all this hate mail. We welcome your letters.
30 new electric vehicles that they have committed to by the year 2025.
Okay. We have a little bit of uncertainty right now, economically. Things have been pretty good. Been some great surprises this year, but we were all nervous. Car sales have been down. Automotive sales across the board have been down.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, how the automotive industry goes in terms of their sales volume here in the United States is how the economy goes. Yes?
Right. Okay. Yes, absolutely.
So the minute that we see tough times, and we've already had supply chain issues in abundance right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good luck. Go get an Xbox, right? Good luck with that.
Right.
Anything that's electronics. Which,
by the way, did you ever get yours?
I did. That's a whole other story.
Okay. Right.
We had we worked with the folks over at AERA. It took them months to get microphones, right? Earlier last year.
Yeah.
So I'm making the case here that we're a little bit on shaky ground economically. Okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe not. Just certainly looks and feels that way to me.
Well, with recent things going on in the political world, just because we're the U.S. having our thing here, that doesn't mean that it doesn't impact the rest of the world, and it already has. So just keep that in mind, folks.
So the minute things get shaky, and we know this because of 2008, right, with the recession that happened there, people are going to go for cheaper cars that cost less to operate.
Absolutely.
So those massive truck sales that you have right now, GM, that's going to tank.
Right.
The Hummer EV that costs over $100,000, as great as it looks like it's going to be, probably not going to sell too many of them.
Nope.
Giant Suburbans, Tahoes, gas guzzlers, probably not. Mm-hmm. What have you got that people can get into? Not talking about a Cadillac Lyriq that's going to cost over $50,000.
Right.
That people are going to be able to get into in tough times.
Right.
That keeps your company afloat in terms of sales. You see where I'm going with this?
I do.
Ford has a Mach-E that could do a low end of that.
Right.
Tesla's got their Model Y, Model 3. Right. What does GM have right now? Now, I know Bolt, but that's a hybrid still, sort of, right? Is it all electric?
It's all electric, man.
What's the range on that thing?
Let's look that up. Range?
While you're looking that up, so that's where I would have my head right now is, do we have an offering in that arena? Because if you don't, and things get bad, it's too late. It will take you another year to spin that up at the least. And last I checked, that Bolt or the Volt were not range competitive with like a Model 3. Even the low-end Model 3.
EPA estimated 259 miles on a full charge.
Well, that's improved. So that's good.
And that's as of 2020. That's the latest, and they've updated that, which puts them in. They challenged that market with that little entry-level vehicle. Which, by the way, guys, I haven't done it yet. I know Keith is tired of hearing me say this, but I've got a relationship with a local Chevrolet supplier here that has basically handed me the front door and said, open it and go choose what you want to drive. And he pushed me. He says, you know what you really ought to do first, the story on first, because we're selling the heck out of these things. That's the Bolt. They have been selling the heck out of the Chevy Bolt. So I'm gonna do a test drive on one. And
this is the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Jay has the opportunity, any General Motors vehicle, and he's going for the $35,000 EV, and I'm like, dude, get the Corvette. Right.
Well, I did sit in the Corvette. I had pictures of that with me sitting in it. That's about all I got.
All right, which one's going to get more likes, Jay? You doing burnouts in a Corvette, or
I'm thinking the Vet, man. I am definitely thinking the Vet. But anyway, just to my point, though.
I'm having fun at your expense. You know that, right?
My point, though, they had a lot of these little rides. Because he asked me, have you ever driven one? He goes, you'd be surprised how fast these things are and what they do. He goes, yes, it's a tiny little car. I get it. But why it's so popular here is most people work remotely here. They're not commuting all the time anyway because we're a large tech sector. So most people work remotely. The people that do live in Seattle and south of Seattle and around the Seattle area work remotely as well. But the ones that do live, they live in downtown, in the district, the tech district, they don't have to drive. But those that do locally, and I don't know what it is out here, people tend to be a little bit more, maybe conscious of the environment or want to do their part by buying an electric vehicle. But there are a lot of Teslas out here, a lot of these electric vehicles out here where I'm at. So anyway, but the Bolt is really about the only entry level vehicle they have to compete. Do they have a Tesla to compete with? No, that's where the Lyric's going to come in.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. So maybe they're better positioned than I'm thinking. I'm just nervous for them, and I will revert back to something that I said on a previous podcast. I'm this way with Apple. I'm hard on these guys because I love them and I want them to do well, and I'm nervous when I see things like a logo change that's really not a logo change. And
well, there's a little behind it, though. All
right.
They wanted to keep it familiar, and their whole idea, but it's instead of going uppercase, normal font style, they go to a lowercase and they square off the humps in the M and make it look like an electrical plug. And that was the intent to signify their move and their commitment to the EV world. And then the blue fading into a lighter blue is supposed to, like represent cleaner air or something. So that's, I get it. Whoop-de-doo. You could have done all that without changing the logo.
I want to be that salesperson. Or, I want to have an opportunity to speak and sell to whomever agreed to that, because that is such a crock. You bought that? You bought yourself I can't. It's, wow.
Yeah, you kind of wonder who's making those decisions.
What's going on in the decision-making process there, right? You just made my point for me.
Right. And, look, as a company, man, logo changes signifies, in a lot of cases, we got issues.
Or a major directional shift.
Major dramatic change. Because if you look at the blue oval of Ford, how long has that been their logo, man?
So if you want to signify, let's assume that it's not trouble. Let's assume that it's a major directional shift.
I think that's what it is.
Let's make a minor adjustment to the logo.
Let's hope that's what it is, and that's why we wanted to kind of put this Nikola thing in there, because that's scary, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're skeptical, man.
Man, it's just making me nervous. It's making me nervous.
So guys, everybody listening to this right now, you know how to go to our website, partscounterguru.com. Easy. We have a comment section. Leave us a comment about this, man. We want to know your thoughts on this whole GM Nikola thing, and the change with their logo. What do you think that what about it? What does it say to you when you saw this? What does it mean to you when you saw this? What's your thoughts on it? But you can go to partscounterguru.com, leave us a comment. You can also, on that same page, hit our podcast links, which you can get to any of our podcast platforms. You can also, if we mention anything on the podcast that you can purchase, we have a podcast mention on the podcast tab there as well. I might as well just go through the whole thing here, right, Keith? Look, if you're following us and you're a fan of us and you're in our audience right now, but you haven't started following us on social media, you can do that. Go to facebook.com/partscountergurus. Like us, follow us, share, tell a friend. Same way on Instagram, instagram.com. But we are the Parts Counter Gurus over on Instagram. We're on Twitter. Our handle is @TheCounterShow, which is what you're listening to right now. YouTube, our video segments, which I will guarantee you that there's going to be a video form of this out there in the near future. Go to youtube.com/partscountergurus, and when you are there, subscribe so that you know when those videos come out. But in order to know when they come out, you have to be first subscribe, and you have to ring that bell. And then when you watch the video, man, just give us a thumbs up. It helps us out.
You know what I think I'm going to have to do
free to you
on this last video is, you know those witness protection videos where they tile out, they pixelate the...
Is that you, man?
I'm going to have to pixelate myself.
So that when I'm, talking to the audience, I'm going to get... Otherwise, I'm going to get so much hate mail from all these GM fanboys that...
No, man, I tell you what, there's a lot of people out there slamming them over this. You're going to be fine.
I hate GM. I just don't want to see them make bad choices. This is what I tell my kids.
I
don't hate you. I just want what's best for you.
They were one of the two of the three that took bailout money.
Yep. And
they almost royally screwed that up.
I really feel like they've never fully recovered.
We know that Dodge never did. Chrysler never did. We know that. Look at where they're at now. Where's GM going to end up? Who knows? Will they be... Does this logo change... Maybe change the name? Maybe there's another G and an M that it's supposed to... Maybe it's no longer going to be General Motors. It's going to be something else. Like Going Mad. I don't know. What do you think?
Hey, leave us a comment. Let us know, what do you think the new GM logo should stand for? I would read. I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas on that.
Yeah. I want to know too, so...